Jeez Louise. Well, speaking of just craziness, the left sat there for years, right, under Donald Trump and took over Portland, Seattle, Los Angeles, and they just completely shellacked and at times just lit on fire some of these stores in these cities. Remember when there's an MSNBC reporter going, it was mostly peaceful protests and there was like 5 buildings behind him on fire? So during the whole Black Lives Matter protest, you had Chop and Chaz take place with Antifa. They went after like Starbucks stores, Walgreens, Rite Aids, Louis Vuitton, Bloomingdale's. They were stealing purses, chapstick, toothpaste. And like you had these reporters come out and say, oh, well, they have to feed their children as they're taking deodorant, watches. Yeah, they got to feed their children. And they said this is this is all just because of the injustices that happened in the past to some of these people, which you can't even totally track because some of them, yeah, they may be black, but it doesn't mean that they were ever, their family lineage was ever slaves or anything of the sort. So this is the type of narrative they're going to push. And the news story here is Starbucks is closing 16 stores. And wait till you listen to the language of what they're using, because they're closing this store due to the violence and people just harassing employees there, but also literally destroying their stores themselves. And what they're calling this is high frequency of challenging incidences. It's just crazy. It's crazy. And wait till you hear about where all these Starbucks are located and where they're leaving from. So Starbucks is permanently closing 16 locations across the US by the end of this month in July. And this comes from the Wall Street Journal. Quote, after careful consideration, we're closing some stores and locations that have experienced a high volume of challenging incidents. I'm sorry. It's just the language is ridiculous. That make it unsafe to continue to operate. To open new locations with safer conditions, a Starbucks spokesperson told Insider. The incidences involved drug use in stores by customers and other members of the public reported by workers. Oh, because the homeless problem is an issue, and you have people coming in and destroying your own property, destroying your stores, but these are just called, challenging incidences. It's almost like the verbiage that the White House uses in terms of immigration, that it's just a challenge, it's not a crisis. If it was just a challenge, it's probably a challenge you can overcome, but you don't want to. So now you're like, oh, this has gotten really bad because you're supporting all these woke ideas, and now you got to get out of the places that support those same woke ideas. The closures are a move to make Starbucks locations safer for customers and employees, the company said, echoing a letter from the senior VPs of U.S. operations, Debbie Stroud and Dennis Nelson, sent to employees on July 11th. The company also gives local leaders the authority to close bathrooms, reduce seating, and take other measures to keep conditions safe for employees. Now, if you had to take a guess, let me know in the comments before we reveal all this, which cities do you think specifically most of these 16 stores are located in? I might have already given the answer. I don't remember. I ramble a lot. But these 16 stores, let me know which cities. At the very least, let me know if it's Republican-ran cities or Democrat-ran cities. Now, again, we're a conservative news outlet. I'm sure you can guess where we're raising this issue from. I've been talking about it for literally over a year now. Yes, folks, you are correct. Portland, Seattle, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. All Democrat ran, all more than Democrat ran, progressive left ran. So Santa Monica, Hollywood, first in Los Angeles, Hollywood and Vine, Oceanfront Walk in Santa Monica, second in San Pedro in Los Angeles, 10th in Chestnut in Philadelphia. You also have multiple locations in Portland, multiple 5 locations in Seattle, Washington. It's nuts. And you got one over there by the Union Station and train concourse in Washington, D.C. So if you're in any of those areas, 1, get the hell out of there. What are you doing living there in the first place? And 2, your Starbucks are closing. So, and we've seen this discourse, right? We've seen this type of environment taking place in these stores. We have videotapes and compilations galore of all this happening. So this is what the Democrats want. This is what they want their cities to look like. And it's not just Starbucks that is leaving. Walgreens left and closed a bunch of stores previously about a year ago because of all this taking place. Where in California, you have Prop 47, where you could just basically go into any convenience store, steal about $950 worth of stuff, and nothing's going to happen. You can literally just walk out of the store with duffel bags full of clothing, full of goods. And when, somebody of the other race, say a black person, doesn't have to be just a black person doing this. I mean, there's white people that do it as well, and so Asians. But, it's because of some sort of injustice that happened to them in the past. And so they deserve this. They deserve to steal all this stuff so they can climb up the ladder and they can make good. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.